The German Army, just as the American Army did, had a series of decorations and as well as rank, um, just like the American Army. But once again, in my experience, when you compare the German to the American, it's much more complicated. You know, I mentioned earlier that American infantrymen had an opportunity to find stuff that the Germans had. And this little board I have set up here gives you an example of the items that were generally sent back as a souvenir to the United States. Why? Um, they're decorations. All right, in this case, it's the board that would have indicated your rank. You could have taken an item such as this off of a uniform, obviously put into an envelope, and could have shipped it home. Going to go over this very, very quickly. In the German military, for the most part, if you were enlisted, your rank was on your shoulder, and it was a board. Um, if you can remember the side cap I showed the Americans wore, there was a color on the board right here that indicated their branch of service. So these two up here, it's white, it's infantry. These two down here are for the Jaeger regiments, who were the light infantry. These items right here would have been on the collar. This is referred to as the national insignia. It was on your uniform over the right pocket. This one's for the German Army. This one's for the German Air Force. This one's for the German Navy. Um, what we have over here is a series of awards that one could have earned. The vast majority are for the German Army. This one was for close combat. That's your Iron Cross Second Class Valor Award. These two were, these three rather, were distinguish your service in combat. This particular badge here was for the German Army for guys who were with anti-aircraft units. Later in the war, unfortunately, the Germans found that they were in a situation where their air force is basically decimated. And there were many members of the German Air Force who became infantry. So this is a badge that would have been earned by a guy in the German Air Force who found himself as an infantryman. Many of your German awards came in a little paper package. And this is an example of that right here. This item right here, it's black, you can't really see it, is the German equivalent of the American Purple Heart Award for where you're wounded. Being in German, it was a little bit more complicated. The initial award was flat black, there was one that was silver, and there was one that was gold, indicating the type of wounds that you would have received. The Germans also used ribbons similar to the American Army. One of the differences was how ribbons were used. This particular ribbon right here was for someone who participated in the invasion of Russia in 1941. You would have taken this ribbon and sewed it into a pocket right about here, it's late at night, on the uniform right here. Optionally, you could put it on the bar. So in this particular case, we have the Russian medal, and we also have the Iron Cross Second Class. For German enlisted ranks, just like the American ranks, they had it on their sleeves. Real quick, this one would have been the equivalent to a corporal. The German Army, just like the American Army, had distinctive patches for the various branches, and I've mentioned this one on more than one occasion. It's for the German Jaeger regiments, the light infantry. This item right here, the American Army had no equivalent to it. It was called the cuff title. It was something that was sewn on the cuff of a uniform. This particular one would have been issued to German personnel who participated in the invasion of Crete. There are also other ones that were for various German campaigns. Now, to make it more complicated, they also had a series of awards for other campaigns. In this particular case, it was for the German Army, the Russian Kuban Peninsula for 1943. As you can see, the medal is made of metal, but it was attached to a piece of fabric, which you then slowed on to the sleeve of your uniform. Once again, items like this, American soldier could have picked it up, could have literally taken it off the guy's uniform, and then put it in an envelope and shipped it home. So that gives you a quick overview of the different types of decorations and uniform items that American soldiers would have picked up and would have shipped back to the United States as souvenirs. So just going to conclude, that's a presentation on wide variety of German military equipment as well as awards that American soldiers acquired and then shipped back home. So thank you very much. Hope you found it interesting.